Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host. So I'm here in sunny Bradenton, Florida at Tropicana. And it's about 85 degrees. It's quite lovely. But I was looking around here. There's more freaking prime trailers and trucks here than there are at most terminals. And I sent my fleet manager a message, and I'm like, so tell me exactly why it is that I'm waiting to get live loaded when there's obviously a gazillion trailers here that are getting loaded and going to be hooked later. But anyway, I'm here, so I guess I'll just enjoy the weather. B has been sitting in the passenger seat looking out the window. She's having her breakfast now. Anyway, a couple of things since I'm still in the Sunshine State. A couple of Florida pieces of information. So early yesterday morning, around 1 or 2 in the morning, there was a big pileup on I-95 down south of Daytona Beach. I didn't have to deal with the backup or the detour, because there was probably a detour at that point because the entire southbound road was shut down, and I was coming through there around noonish, so it was still shut down. There were 3 fatalities in this pileup. But what caused, and you say, well, what could cause a pileup in Florida? Well, it obviously wasn't ice. It's 85 degrees, right? It wasn't a whiteout. And they don't really have a lot of sandstorms here in Florida because there's a lot of vegetation and stuff. But it was a combination, they said, of fog and smoke. And, the smoke, though, was from a controlled burn. And one of the things that I noticed yesterday when I was coming actually through Georgia is a lot of these places where it's heavily, verdant, there's a lot of trees and stuff. When they decide, okay, we're going to cut every stinking tree down and we're going to make another freaking outlet mall, right? Or another Cracker Barrel location or whatever. What they're doing is, instead of taking those trees like they do in some places and chipping them up and selling it or giving it away as mulch or whatever, or for other products that use wood chips, like people that make, wood pellets for stoves, or, there's lots of uses for chipped up wood. And so they're just burning big piles of cut up trees, and two things come to mind. First of all, when you burn biomass, it pollutes the atmosphere, right? It's just pollution. And I'm not opposed to, people having fires in their home. I own houses with fireplaces and have over the years. In fact, one winter I burned a lot of wood, because I had it. And I've done that in several houses. I like campfires, it's fun to have a bonfire. But these industrial, real estate developers that are just like dropping every tree on a 40-acre plot and then setting them on fire because they're too lazy to or too cheap to have them hauled away or sell them as, as lumber, or timber, I should say, not lumber. It's a public nuisance, right? It's polluting, and it's not, and it has other effects, right? Like people that live near there have to breathe smoke. And again, I'm not some tree hugger. I don't mind that they cut the trees down. I just think there's a better way to do it. And this controlled burn that caused a freaking massive pileup on I-95 and killed 3 people. I'm hoping somebody gets sued over it. I mean, I sure would. If I was a plaintiff's lawyer, I'd be suing whoever was burning. So anyway, that's one Florida story. The other Florida story is this. Right now, it's pretty damn hard to look like a bigger asshole than Vladimir Putin. But But Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, managed to do just that the other day. If you haven't seen it, he got all pissed that some high school students who were doing a photo op for his political purposes, he got all pissed that they were wearing masks, right? And he freaking, he like yells at them. Like, you could see the video, like he's all butthurt. And I'm like, well, first of all, if it was one of my kids, knowing my kids and how my wife and I empowered them, they probably would have just walked off the stage. But if I was a parent of a kid who was just doing what they thought was the best thing, forget about politics for a second. They just thought it was the best thing to do. Or maybe they feel like they got the flu, or they're sick, or they just don't want to spread germs. Whatever it is, right? They're teenagers. They're just doing their best, right? They're not trying to embarrass you or anything, right? Because you could have looked at him and said, "Oh, just have the kids lead the stage." No, he has to yell at them, be just a total horse's ass in front of the whole world, and upbraid these kids. And I just think it's, like I said, he's like, he wants to be Putin for the day or whatever. I don't even get it, right? It's like, and by the way, if he runs for a political office again, which I'm sure he will, I think that video is going to be shown over and over and over again, because that shows his true colors, I guess there weren't any old ladies that fell down that he could kick, or maybe he did it later. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of some Florida news. So I did the video yesterday, and I talked about ways to treat or incentivize trainers, people to train. And I've gotten a lot of feedback, so I appreciate that. And one of the things that somebody, Jim C, I think it is, he commented about not feeling like he was valued when he was a trainer. And he also said something about that I was right about the grind. And so I thought I would share a couple of things that I've done while training, and I'm saying this to empower people. Like, I'm saying this to make it okay to do these things. So we've all heard stories about trainers who like get a trainee on the truck and never interact with them. Just sit there and drive, don't say anything. And that's kind of uncomfortable, it's kind of awkward, it's kind of weird, right? Especially for the trainee. On the other hand, though, when you have a trainee on your truck, especially for 30,000 or even like 40,000 miles that Paul was on my truck, it can get, it can get to be a little bit much. Like, you're spending too much time with that person. Now, I will say this. Paul and I took a break kind of in the middle because it was Christmas time and I already had home time planned. But the other thing, I think on a daily basis, right? And this is true even if you're married to somebody that you really, really want to spend time with, that you really love. Sometimes you need a little bit of time apart. And one of the things, or a few of the things that I've done being on the road with somebody is that, like, if you're in the truck or hanging out with them 24/7, it starts to become more of a burden. So a few things that I do, and I'm saying this both to trainers and potential trainees. When somebody is driving the truck, regardless of who, they have the deck, as we would say in the Navy, right? They're the officer of the deck. They're not the commanding officer, because that's the trainer. Trainer's the commanding officer. But they have the con, right? They have the deck. And by the way, con and deck are actually two different things, but I don't want to get into all that Navy watch standard stuff. But one of the things that I enjoy doing by myself is driving. Now, I would never tell a trainee not to get in the seat beside me, for any reason, right? But I do like the solitude of driving. So what I try to do is stay out of the seat, except when it's like I need to be navigating or I need to be instructing, and I try to stay out of the seat more as training progresses and I feel comfortable with the trainee. So one of the things for both to recognize is that alone time is important. So if somebody's driving and they're in the middle of their shift, especially in the middle of the night, just go to bed. Don't sit up with them. They're not your aged grandmother who might pass away in the middle of the night, right? Because truth be told, unless they're asking for your help, if in the middle of the night, if they're going to do something stupid, you're probably not going to be able to prevent it from that seat. Okay, I mean, you can give them advice and stuff, but things happen so fast. Sometimes you're not going to be able to help anyway. That's the first thing. But let them do things by themselves. When I'm driving, I can hook a trailer and look it over pretty quickly because I have a system. I've talked about that. And sometimes trainees want to help, and that's okay if it's normal helping time. But like to get out of the bunk to help, you don't need to do that, right? And that gives both the trainee and the trainer alone time, right? Once I teach somebody how to properly hook a trailer and maybe I reinforce it a couple more times, I don't get out of the bunk when they're picking up a load or swapping trailers or whatever. I shouldn't need to. Now, if they come in and they're like, hey, I can't get this thing to latch, or I can't crank this landing gear down, or like Paul, I was telling this story, the very last load we had together was a beer load. Man, he must have pushed that truck back and forth like, I don't know, it seemed like it was 20 times because I was in the bunk. But I didn't get out to tell him anything. I was just like, look, he knows what the tandems are supposed to weigh. He knows what the drives are supposed to weigh. He'll figure it out, right? And I guess he did, because we didn't get a ticket, or he didn't get a ticket, and we got the load delivered and no crashes or anything. That's when an instructor needs to not be with their trainee, right? Give them the time. Let them be alone. Another thing, we never, I take it back. A few times we sat down to eat together, but almost never. Like the only time we would eat together is if we both got food and brought it back to the truck. But if he was like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell, you want anything? I'd be like, no. I'm gonna eat whatever I got on the truck, or maybe I'll get something else. But I didn't go with him and walk around and talk with him, right? Same with other trainees. Now, I've done videos where I took trainees to certain restaurants, and by the way, I turned Paul on to Sheets. Like he's a lover of stopping at Sheets that have truck parking now, because he can get stuff the way he wants it. But let them go eat on their own. They know how to eat. You're probably not gonna have to Heimlich them. Let them go eat on their own. Same thing if you're a trainee. If your trainer is going to a place that you probably didn't want to eat anyway, let them go. You don't need to tag along. There's nothing they're going to teach you about ordering food that's going to be important. Same thing, fueling. I like to just fuel, because if I'm the officer of the deck, I want to fuel the truck. I don't want help. Let them do it. Stay away from each other. Because sometimes when you're trying to be helpful, you actually are not being helpful, because it gets people out of their rhythm of doing their procedure. Another thing, when we would go to the terminal, we would be like apart. Like the only time we'd see each other is at the truck. We didn't go into the cafeteria, into the North Star Grill and eat together and go through the line together. We didn't do our laundry together. We didn't go get showers at the same time. Spend some time apart. The other thing that we almost never did, except for like one time at this kind of weird pilot in New Jersey. Like it's right across the river from Manhattan. We never took showers. Excuse me. We never took showers at the same time. I would order a shower, because I always pay for the showers, but or make sure that I get the showers for my trainees. But I would trigger a shower, give them the code, and let them go take a shower, and then I would go later. Or sometimes we would just shower on opposite days. Or if I was driving at night, I would just shower during my 30-minute break, and just do it. In other words, even though we were on the truck a lot together, we didn't have to spend time together. And I think that's an important break that you gotta get in almost on a daily basis, right? It's because then you feel like you don't. It feels like there's not somebody in your space constantly, and I just think that's important. The other thing too is that don't let things fester. If you got a problem with somebody, you got to tell them right off the bat. Be nice about it, but tell them right off the bat. Because otherwise, if you notice a problem when you haven't even driven 2,000 miles and you don't say anything about it, how bothered are you going to be at 28,000 miles? Because they're not going to know, and it's not fair to them, right? Like, you're getting angry with them, you're seething, even if you never say anything. It's like making you upset, and they're oblivious to it, right? Just say something. And adults can handle when somebody gives them constructive criticism, even if it's a personal thing. If you're nice about it, you just say, hey, can you do me a favor? Don't, slurp your drink. I don't know, whatever it is, right? Like, people have quirks, people have habits, and same thing, make sure that the communication is open so they can say something to you. Like, they could say, hey, Terry, I don't like it when you pick your nose. I don't know. I mean, but make sure that they feel like they can communicate with you. And I feel like those things can help with the grind and make that 30,000 or 40,000 miles go faster. I don't even know what it was like with 50,000. That's 50,000's like 66% more than 30,000. So that seems like a lot. That must have really tried some patience along the way. So hopefully it, and by the way, if you haven't trained since they lowered TNT to 30,000 miles and it's been a while, maybe give it another shot. And here's one last pointer. Don't be afraid to very firmly vet a candidate for coming on your truck. Driver managers don't know these people any better than you do. So if you get a bad vibe from somebody for whatever reason, just listen to the vibe and say, you know what? I'm going to take a pass on this person. And it's like in jury selection, like during voir dire, right? Every side of the V, meaning the defense and prosecution, defense and plaintiff, whatever, they have some unrestricted ability to strike jurors. They could just be like, I don't like the color of that dude's tie. And that could be the most bullshit reason, but they feel like they don't like that juror, they strike them, And that absolute ability to kind of overrule is something that I think too few trainers use. And if you have a certain standard, don't compromise on it, because the second you do, you're gonna probably regret it, and then that's gonna make for an unhappy training cycle, and that's not the trainee's fault. And so anyway, I hope that opens some thoughts. You don't want to be Rick DeSantis. I keep calling him Rick. You don't want to be Ron DeSantis, right? Get all mad about something, and you want to just be, even keeled, and it'll go by fast, and you work together. Thanks for tuning in. And oh, by the way, one other PS. if you're not running, and this happened to me twice with Paul, if you're not running as hard as you want and as hard as you should as a team, immediately say something. I had a couple of come to Jesus meetings or over the phone with people in sales, people in operations, and my fleet manager. Don't let them give you loads that you could run by yourself when you got a trainee on the truck. That'll make everybody unhappy. So stick up for yourself, demand that you be treated well by your fleet manager when you're training, and be happier about it. Talk to you soon. Bye.